Hi everyone, my name is Akurede Adenike. You are welcome back to my channel. If this is the first time of you checking on my channel, please like, share and subscribe. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell for you to be notified each time I upload new video. In this tutorial today, I would like to draft a perfect female pant, which is updated fashion. So I have front pattern and back pattern here with waistband, and the zipper flyer is also there and the shield. So I will also show you how I create the dart for it. So let's get into it. Now the measurement I'm needing for my perfect female trouser today are, I need my waist measurement, my hip measurement, my knee measurement, my thigh round measurement, my trouser length and my ankle round measurement. So let me roll out my starting point. Make sure you leave about 3 inches before you roll out your starting point. So now here is my starting point, and also at the side here, since it's a draft, I have to leave about 2 or 3 inches in case I want to add my seam allowance to my pattern later. From the waist here now, from the waistline here, I'm going to roll out my hip line, which is 8 inches from the waist. So here is it. Let me make it a straight line. From the waist here now, I'm going to roll out my crotch line. To get my crotch line, I'm going to divide my hip into 4. And my hip is 42, divided by 4 is 10.5. So here's it. So from my waist to my knee line is 22. 22 is the standard measurement for the knee line. 22 inches. You can even measure your waist to your knee to get accurate measurement, but the standard measurement for it is 22 inches from the waist, and from my waist to the full length of my trouser is 39 inches. Here's it here. 39 inches from the waistline. Going to roll it up. So I'm going to input all the vertical measurements. So on my waist here now, I'm going to input quarter of my hip, which is 10.5. You know, I said my hip is 42. So 10.5, I'm going to add ½ inch ease allowance to it. That will make it 11 inches. On my hip line too, I'm going to input it 11 inches. And also on my crotch line, I'm going to input it 11 inches. Crotch curve, what I have here from here to this place, I'm going to divide it by 4. And what is there is 11 inches. I'm going to divide that 11 inches by 4. That will give me 2.75. So I'll come here now and I'm going to measure it out. Like this. Here is it. So from this point now, I'm going to measure 1.5. So I'll now create my curve for the front pattern. So I'll just place my ruler like this. I'm going to place it like this. But if you don't have your curve ruler, you can make use of your free hand if you are good at your freehand. So that's just it for the front pattern. So to my waistline, I'm going to measure out my waist to create my hip curve here. So from here now, I'm going to input quarter of my waist. My waist is 32 divided by 4 is 8 inches. Plus 1 inch that is 9 inches. I'm going to add ease allowance to it, quarter of an inch ease allowance to it. That'll give me 9 1/4. Here's it here. So I'm going to create my hip curve now by making use of my curve ruler, just like this. If you don't have your curve ruler, remember you can use your freehand if you are good at that. That's just it for the hip curve. And to shape all my trouser now, so what I have here, the 2.75 that I measured out from this point, I'm going to measure it together and find the middle of it. Just fold your tape measure into 2 like this to get the middle of it easily like this. So on my waistline too, make sure you place it from this starting point to get your middle for your darts. Here too, I'm going to place it to get the middle of the trouser, which is center line. On the ankle line too, which is the full length of my trouser, make sure you place it and dot it out. I will now roll out my center line for my trouser. Remember, I'm drafting out the front pattern first, so I'll just connect the point. Now after rolling out the center line for your trouser, to give it a nice shape now, you now input the half of your knee on the knee line and half of your ankle on the ankle line. Note, while drafting a trouser, you have to divide your waist and the hip into 4. And as for the thigh, the knee line and the ankle, you have to divide it by 2 inches. You have to note that. So on my knee line here, I'm going to divide my knee, and the knee I'm using for the trouser today is 18 inches. I'm going to divide it by 2. The half of it is 9 inches. So 9 inches on my tape measure, I'm going to place it like this. This is my 9 inches on my tape measure, and I'm going to fold it like this into 2 to get my knee. I'll now place it like this. Just place it like this. The middle of it, let it be placed on the center line, and measure your 9 inches out. As for the ankle, I have 14 inches on my ankle, so I have to divide that 14 inches into 2. So I'm making use of 7 inches now. So I'll fold my tape measure like this on that 7 inches to find the middle of it, and you can easily use 2 inches to divide it. That will give you 3.5. So that 3.5, you have to place it on the center line here for you to get your accurate measurement. So here is it. So I'll now shape my trouser out by making use of my hip curve. If you don't have your curve ruler, you can make use of your free hand if you are good at your free hand. So I'll just connect it like this. As for this place, I'll place it like this. From this line, I'll just place it like this. If you have your pant curve, you can make use of it as well. So that's it. So I'll now use my straight ruler to connect this place to finish it up. just like this, and this place just like this. So make sure you blend the sharp edges. That's just it for the front pattern, and I'm going to add 2 inches seam allowance at the bottom here. You can make use of 1.5, depends on how you want it and how much fabric you have, but don't let it exceed 2 inches. So this is my 2 inches now. So I'll now add ½ inch seam allowance to it all through. Since I've ruled out my seam allowance all through the trouser, so on my waist here I'm going to create my dart. So this is my center line. From there I'm going to measure 4 inches downward, which I've already measured, and I'm going to roll it out. I'm going to make it a straight line, just a little like this, to create my dart for you to understand. So on the waistline I'm going to measure ½ inch on both sides. So I'll now connect it slantly like this to that 4 inches that I measure from the waistline, just like this. The second side I'm going to connect it as well, just like this. So that's just it for the waist. And here, to reduce my crotch for the front, because I don't want it to be a little bit fold at the front here, so I'm going to come down from this line, not from this seam allowance line. From this original line I'm going to come down by 1 inch, but I'm not going to cut it out now. I'll finish up my back before cutting it out, just for you to understand. So I'll now connect it from this place down to this place with my curve ruler, just like this. I'll make it a little bit curve to reduce the crotch for the front pattern. And make it visible very well. So that's just it. I'll later cut it, but I'm going to use it for the back pattern first. So I'll now cut out my trouser now. For me to get the cutting of the bottom accurately, I have to fold on these 2 inches. I'll fold it like this, because at the end of the day, if I cut it straight like this, it won't be enough while I'm hemming the bottom of the trouser. I'll show you the difference when I finish cutting it. So I'll now continue cutting just like this, my front pattern, and this is the effect of me not cutting it straight. As you can see, it's a little bit fish out. So at the end of the day, when I fold it in, I will easily hem the bottom like this. So I will now use this front pattern to cut out my back before cutting out this place I explained earlier for you. Now I've placed my front on the back pattern, as you can see. So I'll start by creating the curve, the crotch curve for the back. From here now, on the crotch line, I'm going to measure 2 inches outward from the original line here, not the same line. So I'm going to measure 2 inches to create my crotch curve for the back. So I'm going to roll it out. And from that line, I'm going to come down by ½ inch to create the new line for my crotch for the back. So here is where the ½ inch is now. So I'll now come up to the waistline, this original line. this place, this line and this center line on my waist here. I'm going to find the middle of it, and what I have here is 4 and quarter. I'm going to find the middle of it like this. Here is the middle of it. So what I have here now, from this place to this place, which is 2.75, I'm going to add it from this original line, not on this same line. I'm going to add it 2.75. So here is it. So, and to grade my crotch curve for the front now, I'm going to measure, you know, for the front I measured 1.5 to create my curve here, and to create my curve for the back I'm going to measure 2 inches, which is on this same line for the front is here. So I'll now roll it out. I'm going to roll it out now, my crotch curve for the back. Just connect it like this. Here is the center for this waistline here. I'm going to connect it. Here is a crotch for the back. I'll just connect it like this. My free hand. So here's my crotch curve for the back pattern. So now to get waistline for the back pattern, let me first of all extend the waistline for the back, for the front. There is my waistline for the front. So I'll now measure what I have here, which is 9 and quarter. This original line, not on this same line. 9 and quarter. I'm going to measure it out here too. 9 and quarter. Here is where the 9 and quarter is. I'll now connect it just like this. So after creating the waistline for my back pattern, I'm going to shape out my trouser, my pattern for the back, by adding 1 inch to hit all through from this original line, not on this same line. 1 inch on my ankle too, on the lane line. 1 inch on my ankle too. I'm going to add it. One inch. I'll have to extend the lines, the nail line on the back pattern too, for it to be very easy for me. And this is my ankle line. I'm going to extend it to on my back pattern to make it easier for me. So the seam allowance to it. My crotch line, extend it, my hip line, extend it to make it easier for me to shape my back pattern. So that's just it. So 1 inch all through from the original line. So my hip line, 1 inch from the original line. So here to make sure you confirm it. This is where the 2 inches is on this crotch line. So I'll now remove my front to draw out my back pattern perfectly. So this is my front pattern. I'm going to put it aside. So I'll now connect my back. Now this is what I have for the back. I've drafted it out. As you can see, it's very nice and beautiful. So I'll now go ahead and create the dart for the back pattern. You know, at the front pattern here, this line and this line, what is there is 4 1/4, like I said earlier. So I will now go ahead and measure from this line now. I'll let it parallel to this line. I'm going to measure that 4 1/4, just like this. I will not let the line straight. You know, this place is not straight. 4 1/4, just like this. I will now connect it straight like this. I'm going to connect it straight like this. So the length of my dart for the back pattern will be 5 inches. Here is it here. I'm going to rule it out just like this. So on my waist, I will now I'm going to measure 1/2 inch on both sides to create my dart for the back. So I will now connect it slantly like this. So that's just it for the back dart. Now this is just it for the back dart. This is how to create it. So I'll now go ahead and add 1/2 inch seam allowance all through the back pattern. Now as you can see, I've added 1/2 inch seam allowance to it all through. I'll now go ahead and cut it out for you to see how it will look like. Now I've finished cutting it. This is the back pattern and this is my front pattern. You know, I said I'm going to cut off this place to reduce my crotch for the front to avoid folding here at this place of the trouser. So I'll now go ahead. Before cutting, I'm going to add 1/2 inch seam allowance to this place, just like this. So I'll go ahead and cut this place off now to avoid too much crotch for the front. Sorry, my camera went off. So let's move on to the zipper flyer. I'm adding zipper to my trouser. That's why I'm creating the zipper flyer. If you are not adding zipper to your trouser, you don't need this. So this is my starting point. I made a straight ruler here. Straight line here and here too. I draw a straight line for my starting point. And I measured from here now, from this line, I measured 7.5, which is the standard measurement for my zipper flyer. And from this line, I measured 1.5 upward to create my flyer. So, and I connected it to form this shape. So from the bottom here, I measured 2 inches upward to make it curve a little bit here. So that is how to create zipper flyer. This is a standard measurement for the zipper flyer. So as for this now, I'll now add 1/2 inch seam allowance all around it. So now this is what I have for my zipper flyer. So to create my shield for the trouser now, I'm going to, from this starting point, I'm going to measure 8.5, which is the standard measurement for the shield. 8.5. 8.5. I'm going to make a straight line here. Going to make a straight line. So from that straight line, I'm going to measure 2.5 for the length of my shield. 2.5. I'm going to connect it just like this. I'm going to square it up like this. So this is for my shield. I will now add 1/2 inch all through it. So now here is the shield, here is the zipper flyer. I will now cut it out before moving on to the... So now I've spread another paper for the belt or waistband. This is my starting point. So I'm going to make use of my waist measurement, which is 32 inches. I'm going to measure that 32 inches here now. I'm going to add 1 inch that I added on my waistband. I'm going to add it. That will make it 33 inches. That 1 inch is for ease. Here is it. So going to connect it. So I'm going to measure 2 inches for the width of my waistband. Here is it here. Two inches. Going to connect it. Now to get the center of this line, you have to fold your tape measure into 2 on that 33 inches to get the middle of it. So I've already not dot it out and I'm going to roll it out. Here is the center of my waistband, and I'm going to add 2 inches extra to this place for the belt overlap, for the waist overlap. So I'm going to square it up just like this. This just it. If I'm cutting 2 pieces of this belt, I'll add 1/2 inch all through it, but I'm cutting it on fold. I'll just add 1/2 inch on one side of it and this side too. That's all. So let me quickly add that 1/2 inch to it. Now I've added 1 inch seam allowance to it on one side of it and this side too. I did not add seam allowance to this place because I'm cutting it on fold. So I'll now quickly cut it out for you to see. So as you can see, I've completed all I need for the perfect female pant. This is my front pattern, my back pattern, the belt, which is the waistband, my zipper flyer and the shield. In my next video, I'm going to show you how to join it perfectly and how to join the zipper to your trouser perfectly. So guys, in any way, if my tutorial has been helpful to you, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel to support my channel. If you have any question pertaining to cutting and sewing, you can join me on my Facebook group, Details to Sewing, created by Akorede Adenike. I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Akorede Adenike. Till I see you in my next video, stay safe, stay blessed. Bye bye.